Hey guys, hi everybody in Mrs. Brendel's awesome reading class. I'm excited to talk to you today. Thanks so much for your questions about Jack Templar. I'm glad you guys seem to be enjoying the book so far. It gets pretty crazy towards the end, so hold on because it's gonna be a wild ride. I have your questions right here, so I'm gonna go through and answer those. And I'm looking forward to be able to have a chance to talk to you guys live when you guys finish the book and maybe talk about whether or not you guys are going to go on and read the rest of the series because it's a 6 book series, and every book is a little bit crazier, a little bit more crazy battles with monsters and everything. So, and a little more love interest too between Jack and Ava. So that's always fun. So, all right, let me go through your questions here. So, the first question is, how did you get Ava's voice in the book? So, it's interesting. It's a great question because a lot of times as an author, when you talk about having someone's voice, you're talking about really their character. And if you read their dialogue by themselves, you would immediately know who that person was. A lot of time when you first start writing books or stories, sometimes all the characters sound like you, the author. And one of the really important things to do is to try to figure out how to, just with the dialogue, make that character stand out. So, if you guys have ever read Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, you can read that book and not read anything except for the dialogue, and you would know exactly who's talking each step along the way because he was a master at this. Also, Ava, she has a soft British accent too, so I try to convey that in the writing. And actually, when I grew up overseas in Greece, Cyprus, and Saudi Arabia, and I went to British schools. So when I was a kid, when I was between the ages of 5 and 12, I actually had a British accent myself. So I was a little bit of that. I was just reminding myself of what it means to have a British accent. So hopefully that answered that question. So let me open up the rest of the questions here. How did Why did Jack Templar fall in love with Ava? Oh my goodness. Because Ava's awesome. I mean, really, a girl who can fight monsters and is tough and smart and just generally awesome. I mean, why wouldn't he fall in love with her? I mean, simple as that. So, but that's going to be something that's going to happen over time in the whole series. You see that relationship kind of go up and down, and it's one of the fun things. And remembering what it's like to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend when you're young, it seems like such a huge deal, and everything's a big deal, and everything they say and all that stuff. And so it's fun to write that and share that with you guys, and maybe if you have a girlfriend yourself, you might recognize some of that stuff in there. So, all right, let's see what else we have here. What happened? What happens to Cindy? Wouldn't you like to know? You're gonna have to finish the book to find out what happens to Cindy, and you're going to have to continue to read the books to really find out what happens to her. I'm just saying, she might show up in a future book. I don't know. How did Aunt Sophie die? Oh, tragedy, I tell you. Aunt Sophie's a really interesting character because she is one of the Creech. She's one of the monsters. And, in this book over and over again, you get people who say all the Creech are bad and they're all one way and you can't trust the Creech. And, if you think about it, maybe you've heard people say that about other people that just taking a whole group of people and saying that they're all the same and but nobody can be different. And I just don't think that's fair. I don't think that's, a good way to look at things. I think everybody's an individual and you always need to treat people as not part of a group, but as who they particularly are. Now, in the story of Jack Templar, a lot of the Creech are bad dudes, but, in this, there's a lot of them that are really good as well. And you'll see it over and over again in the stories that the Creech, some of the Creech are actually become Jack Templar's biggest supporters and biggest helpers in the whole thing. So Aunt Sophie, I like her because she started off as a devil werewolf, and she had her heart melted by this little baby boy Jack Templar. And as she raised him, she just fell in love with him and really raised him as a mother. And so when it came down to having to choose between Run Lecrae, her boss basically, and this little boy, she chose to love the little boy. So people think that monsters and the Creech wouldn't never make that decision, and she proved positive that you just can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge somebody because of their belong to a particular group. You have to look at the person as an individual because there's such good in most people. Maybe not Ron Lecrae, like the bad guy, but certainly there was in Aunt Sophie. So Ron Lecrae is a person who, when he touches her, using the powers that he has, basically turns her into ashes and dust. And so that's how she dies. So anyway, those are great questions, guys. I really appreciate you sending them to me. Hopefully these were some, enjoyed hearing the answers. You can kind of see in the background here, I've got my suit of armor here. Where's it at? Right. Oh, there it is, right there. Kind of picking its nose right there. And so I've got the Jack Templar #2 poster up here as well. So hopefully you guys will have a chance to finish the book, and we'll have a chance to answer some more questions, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk via Skype someday, and so we can have a real conversation. All right, nice talking to you guys. Enjoy, and listen to Mrs. Brendel, because she's good people.